Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Teachers Podcast. It's the third episode, and I'm here with Ibu Yemima, and I'm glad that she's here. Okay, say hi to her. And yes,
Hi.
very excited to see what she has for us today. So, Ibu, how are you feeling today? On a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, scale of 1 to 10. I feel 8 probably, right? One more week left of school. Well, by the time you hear it, school's over, right? And today in the dorm, we're gonna have caroling. So I'm gonna take
Ooh.
students out to teachers who live in Sentul, and we're gonna sing for them. It's
Wow,
exciting.
that's definitely really exciting. So, how many people do you think are going to be caroling today?
All of them. So all of the Behar students. So about 24 of them.
24. Wow. What songs are you going to sing?
Ooh, my group, we will sing Joy to the World, Jingle Bells, and O Come All Ye Faithful. Just 3 songs.
Oh, wow. That sounds very exciting. Yes.
Mhm.
Since we have an audience today, why don't you introduce yourself, like a little bit about you, where you're from, what you like to do, or maybe some interesting facts. You can also throw in some of that.
Thanks. Okay, well, hello, I am Ibu Yemima, as you can probably read in my Zoom. And I teach biblical studies. I also teach PE, and I used to teach math last year, but not anymore this year. Just a little bummer, but it's fine. This is my second year in Espacentol, and I also work in the dorm in the PHH as a supervisor. It's been really good to have students back again. I'm from Bandung. I love reading. That's not interesting, but hey, that might be. I love reading so much that I would read every night. Kaya if I don't read at night, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. You know, yeah.
Really,
And when I was in high school, I used to read until like way past my bedtime and just
huh?
call the next day, like, Mom, I don't want to go to school,
Well, that's
but I
really
can't do that
interesting.
anymore.
Looks like you have a really good interest in books. Yeah. So far, yeah, we're 2 months into hybrid. And how do you feel about hybrid?
Oh, I really, really love hybrid because as teachers, one of the main reasons why we get to this profession is because we love interacting with students, right? We love students. Yes, we love the subject we teach, we love sharing it, but most importantly is that the interaction with all of you, it makes life really worth it. All the preps, all the gradings, they're worth it because you guys are actually learning and you guys enjoy having fun together with the teachers. So that's fun. Finally, I get to see my Central students after after more than a year. Yeah. I
Yes,
finally get to see
here.
the team.
Yes, I agree. Hybrid is really fun for me and for you. Like I get to see all my teachers. I get to see you. It's really fun. Yeah. And earlier, you mentioned that you love reading and you love reading past your bedtime, right? It must be really interesting. So, what were some of these books? Like, do you remember what books you read when you were in high school? What the names were?
Mm. When I was in high school, I really went through um middle school. I read all of the famous five, Lima Sakaon, those books? Those are like books from the old times. My dad read it. And
Wow.
then I read all of them. And then I also read all of the Harry Potters, all of the Narnias, C.S. Lewis, and then all fantasies, Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, those things,
Yes,
those cool.
actually very, really interesting book. And yeah, seems like you also had a really nice high school life. So, do you think you could share one of your favorite memories? Well, it doesn't really have to be favorite. Maybe it's significant. It's just hard to forget from your childhood. Do you remember?
I'm like, oh, this is the one thing my mom always told me about. And probably now that you know me a little more, like it makes sense that I did this. Okay, so uh, it, as even as a kid, I'm very bubbly. I love talking. I can't stop talking, or I'm very confident, even more confident than I am now, actually. And every time we would go into someone's house, or like for example, my grandpa's house, my uncle's house, or my mom's friend's house, my mom would come in first, and she'd be like, "Oh, hello, hi," and then Yemima would be like, Hi, Yemima is here. Hello. Or every time there is a guest coming, I'll be like, hi, I'm Yemima. So embarrassed. My brother would be there, like he's a very, very shy boy. He's like always behind mom. And I'm there in the front, like, hello. So embarrassing.
Yes, you must be really a cute child then. Well, yeah, seems like we have even that positive energy still comes until now. Like I can tell in class, or even if I'm talking to you now. Yes. So next, could you maybe share, since most of us here watching are in maybe middle school or in high school, share one of your favorite or significant memories from during these times, like middle school, could be high school. You could share multiple if you'd like.
Mm. I think what is most memorable is that the friendship I made during those times, right? I had a best friend. We met in grade 7 and we became very good friends. We would spend lunchtime together. We would go to after school activities together, but we were never classmates all the way until we were in grade 12. Imagine, like your best friend is always in the other class, and then we finally got together in grade 12, and that was so fun. And also my friends I met in high school, it's the gang of 4, and I feel like those are the friends that I would actually keep close forever. Because high school friends, they hit differently. I made more friends in college or even as a teacher, but high school friends, they're very special. So if you have high school friends like your little gang right now, they're gonna
Yeah,
be with you forever because they know you a little more, longer, right?
I agree. High school is a very interesting, high school, middle school, it's a very interesting part of your life. Yes.
Mhm.
So what were you like as a student? Describe yourself. Maybe you could share some memories or yeah, up to you. Like you can describe how were you like as when you were a student in high school or middle school?
Oh, this will be embarrassing because I actually was a very, very naughty student. Like I get detention left and right. Yeah. Imagine you're one friend who's always talking, always distracting, like cannot sit still and then like walk around the class. That was me. Yeah, that was me. And then I was very particular about a couple of subjects. For example, I really like math, science, or English or Bahasa. And in those classes, I would sit in the front and like be a nice student, work, make sure I listen, right? But when it's classes like, no offense, like humanities, especially when I was in grade 10, we had to take economics or history. I would say that the ferry back and just sleep the whole time. And I would get the tension about it, but did I stop doing that? No, I continued to sleep at the back of the class. Yeah, so that was me. But then I was also very active in student clubs. So I was part of student council, and then I joined choir, and then also a couple other activities. Like if we go, like you do service in action, right? We also had something like that. We would go to orphanage or panti jompo, we call it in Bahasa, right? I love doing that with my friends, with my teachers. So that was very much a big part of middle school and high school, doing surface and then um, student council, choir, and then do homework if I remember. Right.
Yeah. Then yeah, I'm also part of the student council here. So what was it
Yeah.
like? What was it like for your student council? I feel like it's different for every school. So you can maybe
Mhm,
describe your experience, what it was like for
mhm.
you there.
Um, in my high school, I was always the treasurer. I count all the money. I have all the money. Haha, that was so fun, right? And the friends, like for example, if they're in charge of one event, they'll be like, "Hi, Yemima, we're gonna need this amount of money," and I'll be so mean. I'll be like, "Okay, make sure you write your proposal in detail and blah blah blah." I was so mean. Um, but then that worked out, and then we had lots of fun events too. We every month in our school we would have different themes. So for example, on in August we would celebrate Independence Day, right? So for the whole month it's different events, and then October would be the Bible month. So we always had competition about your biblical knowledge. Or in the morning, we would have devotions together every morning. Imagine. And my school, we always did assembly every Monday morning. It's always assembly in the field. So imagine you come at 7 and then you have to sit in the field under the sun. Ah, so annoying, right? But it's part of high school fun. And then lots of times student councils have to be um, responsible for parts of it. So that would be fun.
Yes, being in the council. Yeah, it requires some responsibility being in the clubs. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, well, you were a very interesting student. All right. Like, do you have any embarrassing moments in high school? Like, I feel like if you're in high school, it's like a really lively time. Of course, there might
Yes.
be some embarrassing moments. And if you don't mind, you can probably share some that you still probably can't forget to this day.
Think if yeah, my high school time is always embarrassing. Ah, wait, let me think. Like embarrassing funny or embarrassing like oh shoot.
Well, it could be either. Both works. You could share some
Okay.
multiple if you'd like.
Hmm. Oh, I mean always the most so in middle school, right? In the choir, so the teacher would like, okay, we would like to have some parents participation for the event. So if your parents want to participate, please come to the meeting on certain day, right? And of course, my mom is a teacher in the junior school of our school. So guess who came? My mom. And guess who else? Nobody. So imagine your mom is like the only mom yang always repot. Always, yeah. Like, you know, in Espejal, we have an amazing group of PAG and CPR, right? They all work together. But my mom was the single fighter of the parents. So it's pretty embarrassing. Yeah. I don't know. It's been a positive thing at that time, but like for me, it's like, mom, can you not? Like, other moms are chill. You're like, ah. Yeah. So it wasn't from me, but it was my mom. But I'm glad she did it because no one else would do it. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I feel like sometimes moms are like that.
I
Yeah.
know.
So back in high school, I think the most important thing is you know what you want to do when you grow up. So back in high school or middle school, what was the first thing that you wanted to be when you grew up? If it wasn't teacher, if you had chosen to become something else beforehand,
I
what was it?
I did not want to be a teacher back then. Well, actually, I wanted to be a teacher when I was in kindergarten, right? Because the only profession you see is really a teacher. Because my mom was a teacher, and then I only saw my kindy teacher, right? So, oh, teacher, being a teacher is cool. But then when I was in middle school and high school, I really, really wanted to be an architect because it's so awesome, right? You gotta draw buildings, you basically build the buildings, right? But then, and I was really good in math and in physics, but what failed me is my inability to draw. Can't draw. Can't draw a straight line. Miserable. In grade 11, we had to take a specific art subject that we had to draw basically buildings, lots of what do we call it? Oh, Miss Ellie's gonna be mad at me. Um, perspective drawings. So building and yeah, you know, it's very difficult. I can't do it. And then when our art teacher makes us do a very miserable thing, I'll tell you. So imagine an A4 paper, okay? A4 paper, and then he wanted us to make vertical lines, and the length between every vertical lines is 0.3 centimeter. So I have to like really look and then make sure all the lines are straight. It was torture. And I'm like, yep, nope, not gonna be an architect. Bye, gone.
That's how you wanted to be a teacher in the end? Or did you want to be something else before that?
I wanted to be other thing first. I wanted to be like my grandpa. He was an engineer, but he specifically works with airplanes. So he was an airplane engineer. It was pretty dope, right? So I spent lots of my childhood time in his office. So we would go to where they park the planes, and it's pretty cool. So I wanted to be a plane engineer, and then I realized that, oh, maybe I'm not too smart for that. Oh yeah, actually. No, yeah. And then I talked more with my counselor. See, counselor really helps you. Your career counselor, Ibulina, who else? Mr. Josh, Mariam. Talk to them, right? We talked about what I could have done, other things, right? And we talk about the things I'm good at and the things I love. And voila, a teacher. And she's like, well, yeah, you can be a math teacher, you can be a physics teacher, you don't have to work in the sub in the field, but you can teach it to other people. Oh, that is actually really cool too. And then I talked to my mom about it, and of course, being a teacher herself, she's like, wee, you want to be a teacher? That's cool. And she said a very, very awesome thing, like, yeah, you know what, you're not only following me as a teacher, but the teacher that we follow is the best teacher ever. Do you know who it was? And I'm like, Ibu Lasmi, my physics teacher. Bruh, no, it's Jesus. Jesus is the best teacher. And I'm like, sure. Okay. I'm becoming a teacher because Jesus is basically a teacher when he was in the world, when he was on earth. So that's how it went from architect, plane engineer, teacher.
That's, yes, it's a very interesting chain. Well, this is actually one of the student questions. For what we know now is you teach PE and you teach biblical studies. So why did you choose to teach these two subjects?
Well, I actually did not choose this, Charlene. So when I went to college, my subject, sorry, my major was English literature. Because I also love, as I said earlier, I love books, I love literatures, right? So I went to study English literature with Miss Hazel. Oh, we were not in the same class, but same program. Um, and then at one point when I was about to do my internship, the school I did internship with, they needed a biblical studies teacher. And in my campus, in my program, we also studied lots Bible classes. We took so many Bible classes and theology classes. So my professor thought that, oh, Yemima can be a good person to help you with biblical studies, right? And I was like, oh, really? But I wanted to be an English teacher or at least a Bahasa teacher because literature is life, right? Um, but then, no, I had to teach biblical studies and I grew to love it because, well, when we're studying the Bible, it's also a literature piece, but better than that, it's God's word itself, right? So then I fell in love with it and then I taught it. And now it's my fourth year actually teaching biblical studies because last year I did teach biblical studies. And yeah, I loved it. And then what else? Oh, I teach PE this year. I actually was assigned to teach PE, but it's also fun. I grew to love it. I grew to um, enjoy it because at the end of the day, physical health is pretty important too, right, Charlene? You can be really smart. You can be a really good singer, but if you never exercise, what happened to your body? Bleh, right? If you don't eat healthy, you're not taking care of your body, right? So, yeah. Ibu Lisa Janti always joke that, oh, Yumima, you're like sehat jasmani and rohani, because like physical health and spiritual health. And I'm like, I will take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yes, that's very Nice. Well, when you were in university, like, what major did you take?
English literature.
Mm.
Literature.
Interesting.
Nerd subject, I know.
Yes, you seem to really like literature a lot. Do you have any like, because you've already have this really long chain of deciding on what you want to be. Well, aside from talking to a counselor, do you think you have any advice for maybe our senior, especially students who are about to graduate? Do you have any advice for them on how to find out what they want to be when they grow up,
Mm,
especially to those who still don't know yet? Like me, I'm
mm.
still clueless. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think what was really helpful for me is to really check where you're good at, because believe it or not, everyone is good at their own thing, right? I'm good at one thing, someone else is good at one thing, and find what you're good at, find what the world needs, and there you can find your calling. So, well, when we talk about calling, it's about what you can give and what they need, right? So it matches. So if you're really passionate in one thing, look deep into it and then find how can you use what you like to serve the world, to serve the Lord through serving the world, you know. Yeah. And I know that with our society, some professions are looked down upon, right? For example, I remember I told my mom at one point, maybe I was a little joking, that, Mom, I wanted to be an actress. I want to go to an acting school. I want to go to Juilliard. And she's like, well, one, Juilliard is like super expensive and it's like only genius go there. Yeah, I know. And two, if you really want to be an actress, I don't think that's like a really uh high paying job. Yeah, I know. It's like not as grander as if you're a doctor or you're a lawyer, right? But I think yes, you also understand where your parents are coming from, but also really just believe in yourself, what you want, what you see important for you. And because those are the things that are important to you. And if you think you can do that for a longer time, then that's it. Did I make sense?
that makes
Well,
sense. That makes sense. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Some people also might see going to university as a really big thing, right? Going to a
Mhm.
country, and this is going to decide and help you on what you want to be when you grow up. So, what was something you wish you knew sooner about going to university and only realized it when you were there?
Mm, well, because I went away from home, right? I wish I knew better on how to do chores. this is this is a very common problem with students, right? Because now we live in a very comfortable situation, right? We do help. Some of us have helpers, right? We don't really sweep our floors every day. We don't really do our laundry, right? Wash the dishes. But when you actually go out there away from home, guess what? You're gonna have to do them yourself, right? You need
True.
to know how to sew your button. You need to know how to wash the dishes, when to change your bed sheet, right? And those are the things that school don't really teach you, but hopefully your parents teach you that. My parents tried, but I did not pay attention to do those things. So my first year in college, well, actually, my first couple of weeks, I asked my friends, so how am I gonna use how am I supposed to wash my clothes? What do I do? And they're like, yeah, really? You need to separate the lights and the darker clothes. And no, you cannot put your shoes in the washing machine, Yemima. Yemima, you should wash your bed sheet, your towel. I'm like, oh, didn't know that. Because my helpers do that. My mom would tell me to do that. I never really realized that I need to do that. So yeah,
Wow.
personal chore. really need it. And money management, actually. Yeah.
Definitely.
Because when you're at home, you can easily like, hey mom, can I have extra money? Right? But when you're away from your parents, you need to really manage your money. Because yeah.
Hmm. If you don't mind saying, where did you go to university? Like which country?
I I I was here. I went to UPH in Karawaci. So
Ooh,
not really far, but still lots of adjustment. So I can imagine if you're going far, far away, there will be even more adjustment that you will have to face.
yes, definitely. Different
Mhm.
environment. Mhm. So, was teaching your first job after you graduated college as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Is where did you first teach though? Which school?
I taught in Espeja LV for 3 years. I taught biblical studies for 7 and 8, 9 and 9, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 7, 8, 9 for 3 years, and then I came here. So that
So, what
was.
was your experience there like? Like, how was it like
Mm,
there? Is it
it
like
was
maybe you can
really.
compare a little bit with what it's like here?
Oh dear, oh dear. It's a trap question. It's a trick question. Well, in LV, I taught biblical studies 7, 8, 9. I was also the chapel coordinator. So yeah, I make sure we have speakers for chapel, we have games in chapel, that students are awake in chapel, because I know. Y'all sometimes attend chapel and you're like, or be like, especially now you're at home, right? Um, so yeah, that was fun to do. And for all those 3 years, I was homeroom teacher for grade 8, and it was really fun. So I got to see 3 different batches of grade 8, and we would go to field trips. We went to Jogja, and then we went to Punjab for retreat too. Yeah, that was really fun. I do miss my students there, but now I have new sets of students who are just as fun.